I'm going to do my favorite activity now, which is talking about myself. I love it. Made a whole YouTube channel out of it. And I'm going to talk about, I don't know, I have two kind of trains of thought that are related, but not related enough to be smoothly segued between. So I reckon I'll start with the shorter one. Well, they should both be fairly short. I don't know if I really have much to say about them. I should do less talking about talking and more just talking. So, where do I start? I guess, so back when I was about 16 was when my sort of mental elf went a bit down the shitter for the first time, and I started getting panic attacks and anxiety and depression that was not pleasant. Like, about when I was 16, let's say. And along with the panic attacks, arguably the worst, well, maybe not the worst part. The panic attacks way worse than depression. I mean, depression sucks, but you can just kind of deal with it, right? With panic attacks, you can't really deal with it. They just kind of immobilize you. You can just like push through depression and just like ganbare and keep going. It's not easy. It's very, very difficult, in fact. And also depression is more like a long-acting type of deal, whereas anxiety attacks generally don't last very long. But if I had to pick between one to never have again, I would pick to never have anxiety attacks again. And thankfully, I don't get them so much anymore, thanks to marijuana of all things. Although it didn't maybe not in the way you might think. When I started smoking, this is not what I meant to talk about, by the way. When I started smoking weed, it gave me all the same symptoms of a panic attack. Racing thoughts, my heart would start beating really fast, my thoughts would be kind of warped because I was high, right? And it would just put me in a sort of high, your kind of paranoia you get when you smoke weed. And it would put me in a similar mindset to having a panic attack. But after being, in a pleasant, surrounded by friends environment, smoking weed a few times, my body learned, hey, this pattern of physical symptoms isn't just associated with death. Look, here you are in this particular, your heart's pounding, your thoughts are racing, etc., but you're completely safe and fine and having a good time. And my body just sort of slowly learnt that from smoking because it has such a naturally weird negative emotion. Like, I experience all of the worst parts about weed quite strongly. That's why I don't really smoke weed anymore. So yeah, I experience all of the worst parts about weed quite strongly, and so my body just learned that those things were safe. And then when I would start having a panic attack, it would just peter out, right? Like, what actually causes a panic attack is that you start having anxiety, and then that raises certain bodily physical symptoms, and then you start having anxiety about the symptoms, which makes the symptoms worse, and it becomes a loop, and that's how you end up in a panic attack normally. But I would break the loop because I would feel the symptoms and not be super worried about it because my brain had learned from marijuana that those symptoms weren't necessarily associated with your dying, because that's what your brain thinks is happening when you're having a panic attack. It thinks you're dying, at least for me. That was a bit of a side track, not what I meant to talk about. What I meant to talk about is around that time, when I was first getting anxiety heavily, I had a symptom associated very often with anxiety and depression, which is, or actually, it turns out I have bipolar 2, but what at the time I thought was depression, is a dissociation. And if you don't know what dissociation is, dissociation is really split into two different groups. There's a depersonalization and derealization. So derealization is the one I have. Never experienced depersonalization. So depersonalization is when you feel like you're not real, and derealization is when you feel like the world isn't real. And I had derealization. And maybe I shouldn't be using the past tense here. I'll use the past tense, fuck it. So if I had to describe it, you become really... So the first thing I'd always notice is that my hands felt like they weren't my hands. Like they looked like I could see them moving and wiggling and stuff, but it didn't feel like I was... Like I knew I was controlling them, but also they felt like someone else was controlling them. Like it didn't feel like really like they were me, like they were attached to me. And then you become aware that you're looking at the world through your eyeballs, and you kind of feel like a little man sitting behind your eyeballs looking out at the world. And then just the whole world sort of feels like a video game or like a dream. It's how it's often described, but it's pretty much the most accurate you can be. Like it just feels like you're controlling a video game character, but it's your actual body. Apparently it has something to do with like short-term memory. No one really knows. It's weird. But that happened to me, and it freaked me the fuck out the first like couple times it happened. But then it sort of got more and more common. Like at times, there was times when I was dissociated for like a whole day. They were kind of rare, but it would happen. But more so, they lasted for short time periods, like maybe an hour. But they would happen more frequently until eventually I just got so used to it that it didn't really bother me anymore. Like and the weird thing is, when you stop being bothered by it, it's kind of like the anxiety attack loop. Like when you stop noticing it, when you stop paying attention to it, it just goes away. It's weird. Like you're only dissociating while you're aware that you're dissociating. As soon as you just sort of forget about it and go on with your day, it might still be happening, it might not, but you barely... If it is still happening, you don't really notice it, and if it isn't, or maybe it basically just goes away. It effectively just stops when you stop caring about it. And that's the experience that I experienced. Like, if you realize you're a video game character, or feel like a video game character, or you're in a dream or whatever, and you go, oh, it's that thing I felt 100 times before, whatever, I'm just going to keep going with it, I no longer give a shit. And you go on, you just forget that you feel like that, and then you no longer feel like that. It's weird. Because of this, I can sort of control, it's my superpower. I can willingly dissociate or reassociate. I can just flip between the modes at will. It doesn't always happen willingly. Like I will just start dissociating. I happened earlier today, which is why I'm mentioning, because it reminded me. Like sometimes I will just start dissociating out of nowhere, seemingly. But as soon as I notice it happening, I can just bring myself back if I don't want to be doing that right now. Like I can just, because all you have to do is learn to ignore it. So all you do is, if you notice you're dissociating and you don't want to be dissociating, you just learn to stop. You just move on, and it will go away. Which is easier said than done but after you've done it a million times, after you've just experienced that headspace a lot, it just gets boring and you just don't care about it anymore, and then it happens naturally. At least that's what happened to me. But the more interesting thing is I can induce dissociation. I can't really describe how I do it, but I can do it. It's the opposite. You just sort of pay attention to all of the facts that previously you were trying to ignore. And I can induce dissociation. Which is not really something you ever really want to do. I can do it. I normally never do, because it's not really that much of a fun atmosphere to sort of be in. And it's not super heavy when I induce it compared to when it happens at random. It's way less intense. I don't know. But I can do it, there you go, that's my superpower. That's the one thing I wanted to talk about. And then the other thing, I don't know how to begin this, how to segue. Trimmed my beard today. Not the cleanest I've ever done it. You know what? As we transition themes, let's transition locations and camera setups, because that's filmmaking, baby. That's filmmaking. Oh yeah, okay, nice. It's a bit close to me. Let's back up a little bit. Yeah, that's some nice framing. Okay, the other thing I wanted to talk about is, and I'm struggling to think of how to put this into words. I guess just the idea that me as a person is kind of a fundamental realization that's happened to me, is that I am not very, like, a lot of my fundamental personality traits might, sort of psychoanalyzing myself, fall back on the fact that the basic fact that I'm someone who finds it difficult to care about anything. Um, I just don't, I find it difficult to give a shit. And I realized this because after cleaning my room, I was thinking about, firstly, why didn't I do this sooner? And secondly, how do I make sure that I don't have to ever do this again? Because that fucking, I hated every second of that. Although it was kind of satisfying when it was done, the satisfaction wasn't worth the effort. Although I am glad I did it, and it's much nicer long term to be in a clean room than it was to be in my previous neat mess. I just quite like the stuff velcroed to my wall and everything. Looks cool. Looks better, I'd say. You know, I thought the aesthetic of the neat, messy room looked better, but now I think this looks better. Hey, I guess I'm growing up. So I was sort of thinking, like, the problem is the phrase that appeared in my mind when I was thinking about this is because I think very linguistically, and the phrase that appeared in my mind was, remember to care, right? That's like a really important thing to me, is I have to remember to care about something. I can't just care about something, like, it's like, when it comes to cleaning my room, like, or like keeping my room clean, for example, right? Like, it's the consistent remembering to care about it, and this applies to everything. And I just have trouble remembering to care about anything. Just like, I don't care about shit, especially not for a long, like, and if I do care about something, then I forget that I'm supposed to be caring about that very quickly. Like today, while I was dissociated, this is why I've mentioned both of these, because I both of these things sort of happened at the same time, and so I have these two thought threads. Today, while I was dissociated, what happened to me while I was outside. This happens a lot. To me, or for me, it's quite common for me to dissociate when I'm quickly go from one environment to another. So, like, quickly going from my room to the outdoors would be a fairly reasonable trigger from dissociation. And I went outside to the shops, and when I was coming back from the shops, I crossed the road without even looking, which is very rare for me to do, because I was dissociated and I wasn't aware that I was, existed in the real world right then. The world didn't feel real, so I didn't remember to care to look before I crossed the road, and I almost got run over. It wasn't like there was a car that came out of nowhere. It was right there. I saw it, and I just forgot that I'm supposed to be caring about not getting run over, because I was dissociated. And that's when I noticed I was dissociated, first of all, and then I was just like, oh, okay. And that's when I started bringing myself out. And then that's also when I thought back to, oh, I just forgot to care about that car. Hey, I was thinking about this the other day when I cleaned my room, that a lot of my personality and, positives, negatives, just sort of the way I am, my taste in a lot of stuff, for example, is influenced by this fact that I find it difficult to remember to care about things. Like, I often, I've been putting on weight recently, which I am hoping to lose at some point. I just need to remember to care about it, because I don't remember to care about what I eat. I just eat whatever I want, because I forget that I'm supposed to be caring about that, right? And then even if I try, I forget how much I'm supposed to be caring, and if I care at all. I just forget to remember to care. Um, there's all types of stuff like that. Like if you want to keep your weight down, or let's say anything responsible, right? If you want to do anything, you have to remember to care every time you do it, right? It's easy to do a thing that you just do once, right? Like I can do fairly difficult things if I just have to do them once. Like you know, I don't know, with anything. If I just have to do it once in one sitting, like cleaning my room, that was been pretty much a slog, not something I would have done for fun. Right, I didn't enjoy that. Or like I don't know, all sorts of stuff. Writing my dissertation, stuff like that, right? Where it's just like you just have to put in a whole bunch of work all at once. I can do those things. I don't enjoy doing those things. I mean, unless it's fun work. But generally, I don't enjoy doing those things. Like music, I enjoy, right? Or like if I'm doing kind of like a, music can sometimes be hard work, but it's hard work that I enjoy, so I don't mind. But what I'm saying is, like, stuff that I don't enjoy, like tedious work, like cleaning my room or stuff like that, right? Or marathoning a really long anime series, right? If it's something that can all be banged out in one day, then I can remember. If it's only one day of consistent remembering to care, and that's really, you only have to remember, if you never stop, if you don't take breaks, then you only have to remember to care once, because you only have to care right at the beginning when you decide that you care enough to do it, and then you never have to remember again because you're already doing it. But if it's spread over a long period of time, like a long anime series, for example, I just halfway through forget why I'm supposed to be caring about this, and then I forget that I cared. I forget that I do care about this, and then I move on. Um, that's why I predict that at some point my room will start getting messy again. It's easier to spot when things get messy when you have a clean room, but I do predict that it won't last forever. I'm hoping that at some point I will remember to care and clean it up before it gets as bad as it was before, but whatever. The point being, I will just forget to care. Like today, I used one of those cables over there, one of these ones, and I used it, and I when I was done with it, I almost just sort of threw it over to my desk and then I remembered that I'm supposed to be caring about that, right? Now it helped that there's a visual marker, right? The cables have a bit of Velcro on them, so when I saw that, I remembered that I'm supposed to care, and then I remembered to care, and I put it back on the thing. I've also started using a to-do list recently, which has somewhat helped. But I think that the optimal way to have my life be is that I have to have as few things as possible that I have to remember to care about, but then each of those things can be fairly dramatic levels of caring, right? Like I don't know. Imagine if I was like a roaming a roaming knight, and all I really had to care about was, some aristocratic family is taking care of my boarding and my food. I have a servant who will do all my work, a squire or something, right? And all I have to care about is taking care of my sword and my suit of armor, and like polishing them and keeping them clean and dry and free of rust and stuff like that. I'll be the best at that because I only have to remember like one thing, and then I can just remember to. All I have to remember is one thing, right? Remembering a million, everyone knows. The more things you have to memorize, the harder it is, right? That's just a fact about how the human memory works, right? Like memorizing 20 digits of pi is easier than memorizing 100 digits of pi. I don't know why what am I, fucking Plato? I have to explain the most basic shit ever. Um, I don't know. I got distracted there by being Plato. So I want to have very few possessions, but each of those possessions should be high quality and careable, right? Like, um, for example, what if I had like, you know, uh, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Doesn't None of that matters. But the point being, a lot of my problems come because I just don't really give a shit about anything or anyone. That's not true. I care about people. I find it easier to care about people than I do about objects. Um, I'm still very selective with the people I choose to care about. I only care about like 5 people max, maybe a bit more, maybe like 6. Let's see. See if you can catch yourself in the glint of my eye. This includes like family and stuff, so let's say like 6 or 7 people I care about in the world that I know. There are more people I care about that I don't know, like artists and stuff like that. That I care about their work maybe more than I care about them. But anyway, it also this sort of applies to like my taste in media, right? Like I don't watch very many long things. I'm a big fan of anime shorts. I'm a big fan of short anime as well, like 13 episode shows. 26 episode shows are a struggle for me because I have to watch them in 2 days or Like, maximum length. The maximum amount of time I can take to watch a 26-episode show is 2 days, or I'll never finish it. Or it will take me 10 years to finish it. So I watch almost entirely 13-episode shows. I mean, you can watch a 26-episode show in one day, and I often do. It's a bit of a slog. Whereas a 13-episode or 12-episode show, it's 4 hours ish, 4.5, 5 hours, almost 5 hours. And you know, that's easy. That's easy to burn through. But if a show's really long, like Kamen Rider W or Cardcaptor Sakura or something like that, right? Then I just forget that I'm supposed to be caring about it at some point. I just stop caring. It's hard for me to remember to consistently care about stuff, and even if I do remember, I might just decide I don't. Like, you know, it applies to everything. This is basically why I'm not into like magical girl or shonen or tokusatsu stuff, because it's just too long. That's why I find visual novels, although I love the medium, I think it's maybe almost, I mean, it's on par with anime as the best otaku medium. It might even be above anime. In some aspects, visual novels are above anime in terms of like just as a medium, in their ability to express the artistic expression that I desire in my shit. Like, visual novels are above anime in certain aspects of that. But they are so long that it is really hard to stay motivated to care about a visual novel for a long time. Whereas an anime I can watch in a few hours. You know, while I was reading the first Higurashi book that I posted the fucking reaction here, I really cared about Higurashi. And then about like halfway through reading the second one, I just stopped caring about Higurashi. I thought, do you know what? I didn't even think. I at some point, you know, I probably finished reading some Higurashi. I was like, that's enough reading for today. And I probably just never, the next day, I just probably didn't pick it back up. I was probably just like, I'll read it tomorrow. And then tomorrow, I forgot about it. That's probably what happened. I just stopped caring because it's long, and I'm ADHD retard or whatever. I just can't care about things it's hard to remember to care about something, right? Like, it's not just that it's hard for me to care about something in the first place, although that is also true. It's also that once I do care about something, it better get to the fucking point quickly, or I'm gonna stop caring about it. Like, again with anime, right? Like, or just a narrative fiction. Or narrative, real non-fiction. Like, a lot of my taste can also be explained with this, right? Like why do I hate melodrama so much? Because melodrama relies on empathy and caring about the characters. Like, to me, it feels like an insult to show me a dramatic, emotional scene and not bother to make me connect with the characters, so it just feels empty. It just feels like stuff that's happening that I have no reason to care about, and that feels like an insult to me, because it's like either you've put this scene in for no reason, or like just as basically window dressing that serves no purpose, because I can't empathize with these characters yet, because you haven't put any effort into characterization or any of the fucking things that can make a person empathetic towards a fictional character. You haven't put any effort into any of that, but you've shown me this dramatic scene as if I'm supposed to care about them already. There's only two reasons you could be doing this. Either this is just it's basically just stuff it's pretty colours that are flying at you, and I'm not supposed to be feeling any emotional connection to this. Or you think I'm so stupid that I will just see a person sad and just instantly just I guess I'm supposed to be feeling sad. It's got piano music in the background. Better feel sad now. No, you have to work a little bit fucking harder than that. You have to fucking work a bit harder than that to make me care about some characters. I cared, god damn it, at the end of the final OVA season thing of Hidamari sketch with Sae and Hiro leaving the Hidamari apartments. I cared because I'd spent fucking 4 seasons hanging out with those characters, and and I got to know, I know them, man. Like, it's like they're my friends. It's like they're, maybe not my friends, but like, I can deeply empathize with them. And so that made that work. K-On! Is the famous example of this. You watch all of K-On! And the final episodes come, and they hit you with the feels, but they earn it, goddammit. And the only show that's ever earned it quickly, because most shows earn it slowly. Most shows, they either have melodrama at the end of the first episode, or they have melodrama at the end of the third episode / beginning of the fourth episode, or they have melodrama towards the end of the show. That's when most shows have melodrama. This is the pattern I've noticed. The only show to ever actually nail melodrama in the first episode is Kotora-san. Because it happens right at the beginning, and it's the setup to the entire show. It's not some bullshit with characters we don't care about. And, it's not any of that. It's a character's backstory, which you need to know to understand the rest of the show. And it's also just executed well. It's like the first bit of Up in terms of, like, quickly hitting you with empathy beats that make you care about a character. It's that level of it's better than the first. You know what? God damn it! The first episode of Kotora-san is better than the fucking beginning of Up. The beginning of Up is bullshit. They just Pixar, so they just have the best musician in the world come up with the best sad piano piece ever fucking put to paper and put to sound systems around the fucking country. And they just have this guy just laying in an attic somewhere. They just pull him out of a fucking drawer, just pick him up, plonk him in front of an orchestra. And of course he's going to make the saddest song in the world that makes everyone fucking feel sad. So they don't even really have to do any... they just kill someone. I mean, who gives a shit, right? Kotora-san doesn't have any of that talent. They fucking pull through with raw passion and raw fucking dedication and fine-tuning, like, the pacing of the opening of that show, or the dramatic beginning of that show, And that's how they pull it off. And then they've earned me caring for the rest of the show. But I'm a difficult cookie to please when it comes to earning my ability to give a shit. I'm so difficult to please that I got fucking pissed off in Aria season 2, like halfway through when they tried to do melodrama stuff. Because I never thought of these characters in that way, Like, it didn't feel appropriate to me to have those characters be sort of melodramatic, romantic stuff going on. Like, it felt like it felt like someone else had come in and been like, you need to have a narrative in this Iyashikei show. And they'd forced this in, and I didn't like it. Although the Aria Season 2 has some of the best episodes in the entire show, so you should still watch Aria Season 2. For the first and second episode alone of that season. And the last episode, also brilliant. God, Aria is so good. But what I'm saying is, even with like a season and a half of build-up for these characters, if you don't do it right, I still feel betrayed. Like, you need to nail that shit if you want me to care. And yeah, this whole caring thing, I just don't give a shit. I don't really play many video games because I die twice and I stop giving a fuck. Like, I played Umihara Kawase. It's a 2D platformer for the SNES, and it's kind of fun. It's like a little bit fun, but it's really hard. I would recommend it if you like weird, oddball Japanese 2D platformers that are quite difficult for the SNES. I would definitely recommend it if you don't already know about it, because I think it's fairly well known. I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea. I'm not a gamer. The reason I'm not a gamer is I played Umihara Kawase for like an hour, and I got bored because I stopped caring because you just die anyway. I mean, it's all one hit kill, and when you die, you go back to the beginning of the level. When you game over, you go back to the beginning of the game. It's a fucking SNES game. They're brutal, and it's hard even for a SNES game, so it's especially brutal. I play Umihara Kawase, and I'm jamming along to the music, but after an hour of that shit, it's not like I got frustrated and gave up, because I know what frustration feels like, and I wasn't really frustrated. because the only punishment is going back through the levels that you already played, and that's not particularly hard. You know, it's just a time sink, but it's not like, I mean, it's hard, but it's not like, I don't know. Is it? What games actually? It's rare that I even get frustrated with a game, you know, or like anything really. I just get bored. I don't get frustrated. I get bored. Like maybe I just get bored before I even have the chance to get frustrated with anything. Like I'll die in Umi Harakawase. It's not like a big. I mean, I'm like no, but then I just keep on going, right? But then after like an hour of playing it, there's only like three mechanics. You walk forwards, you jump, and then you swing with your fishing hook. That's like the only three mechanics. Jump across gaps, don't fall in the water, don't hit the enemies. That's literally it. Get to the end of the stage and survive. That's the entire game. Like and don't get me wrong, it does use those mechanics well, and the levels are well designed, and I think it's probably a good game. But it's not a game that will keep me engaged because I just stop caring at a certain point. Like, who fucking cares if I survive or don't survive? I don't care. Why? Give me a reason, you know? Give me a reason to give a fuck if I actually clear this stage or not. I don't give a fuck. Same with Toho. Toho is the same sort of... Toho is exactly the same thing. Where, like, I played a few Toho games. I played 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6, I think. I used to have only played 6, but I went back through and played 1, 2, and 3. I think I played 5 as well, but I might not have played 5. I know I played 6 and 1, 2, 3. And Toho 1, all of those Toho games, I have the exact same reaction as I did to Umi Harakawase. So I played one for like an hour, and after an hour, I just stopped caring. It's not that I give up because I'm frustrated. I'm not mad at the game. I'm not rage quitting. I played Counter-Strike Global Offensive, although I don't really play it anymore. But I used to for like a long time. And so I know what a rage quit feels like. I've done it. A real rage quit punishes you with 2 weeks of being banned from the game. That's what a real rage quit does. Is when you're so mad that you know you're going to get banned for 2 weeks and you do it anyway. And I've done that multiple times because, you know, I know what it means to get frustrated with the game and rage quit, right? I know that feeling. But with, you know, that's not the feeling I had with any of these games. It wasn't frustration, it was just boring. I just find them boring. They're difficult, but I have no reason to care about getting better for anything. I don't like... Also, the thing I find difficult about Toho is, like, maybe not the thing that... I don't know. Talking to Dotsmite about it, she seemed to, like... She finds it difficult to, like, spot where you need to go, whereas I find it really easy to spot where you need to go, but difficult to actually move there. Like, I find the controls weird. No one else seems to find the controls weird, so I'm pretty sure I'm just weird. I don't know. This is a Black Russian, by the way. Good drink. Very strong. It will kill you if you give it the chance. But I'm stronger than that. So yeah, like Toho games, I'll play each one for like an hour, maybe even 2 sessions, an hour each, and then I just stop caring. Like, yeah, there's no other word for it. I guess like I just lose the motivation to I don't have any reason to continue playing. It's like I mean, a good game. Sorry to Toho fans. I'm sure Toho is fun if you're the sort of person that likes Toho. But a game I really like Super Mario 64. I don't play that game really because I want to beat the game. I played the game probably twice as much after I beat it the first time. Like, I beat the thing about Mario 64, right? Which is, you know, maybe I should just say Mario 64 is my favourite game. Because I normally say it's my second favourite game after Counter-Strike. But I haven't played Counter-Strike in a while. And I also haven't played Mario 64 in a while. I don't know. I don't really care about video games that much. But either way, what I'm saying is, Mario 64, right? Brilliant game. It's either my first or second favourite game. The second I picked up that controller, and I did a triple jump for the first time, I was hooked. I would do anything the game fucking tells me. Because now, because I don't care. I don't care about... It's not about narrative design or anything, right? I don't give a fuck about narratives in video games or anything, really. Narratives are made up nonsense. I watch slice of life shows, for God's sake. I like Gochumon wa Osagi desu ka. I don't give a fuck about Legend of the Galactic Heroes. That's my personality. That's my taste. I don't care. Your Princess Peach baked a cake, and then Bowser kidnapped her. That's all the story I fucking need, right? Doom, just whatever the story is of the original Doom. That's the perfect video game story, in my opinion. I'm sure one day I'll play a JRPG. No, I won't, because they're too long, and I'll stop caring halfway through. But maybe I'll play a Dragon Quest game once, and I'll decide that narratives in video games are good, actually. But, you know, who fucking gives a shit? Anyway. Mario 64, you do a triple jump, right? And then from then on, I just wanted challenges with the platforming. I don't give a fuck if they're challenges the game intended, or, you know, like, I 100% of the game, it's not that difficult. 120 star isn't that hard. But, you know, I did it because that's all that's like the most obvious thing to do in the game. And then after that, I was like, well, that wasn't enough. And so you know, how to do bomb clip, how to do owlless, how to do cannonless. Just like looking for more challenges because the game is that fun. Because I don't really, you know, I don't have motivation to beat the game. That's not what I care about. Maybe that's what gamers care about. Maybe gamers care about beating video games. I don't care about beating video games. I care about playing video games. You know, it doesn't... To me, the ending of Mario 64 is fucking inconsequential. It doesn't matter. What matters to me is actually playing the game. It doesn't matter if it's... You know, do you see what... am I making a good point here? Am I making sense? Like it's not like I play a game so that I can have finished playing it. I play a game because I want to enjoy playing it. And when the game's over, then I don't really give a fuck, because that's just something that some random guy said. I don't care if the game says it's over or not. I'm going to play it as much as I want to, and then when I don't want to anymore, that's when I'm going to stop. And with Toho, that was after about an hour. Because I have no... You know, I played the game. The gameplay was not that fun to me, and so I stopped playing the game. And now I get fucking people on fucking internet fucking message boards and shit who say, oh, was Toho too hard for you? Okay, firstly, the Toho games are hard. No one, if you say that the Toho games aren't hard, then you're just lying. They're designed to be difficult. But secondly, not really. I just didn't find them that fun. If I found them fun, you know what's really hard? Owlless. I don't know if any of the people who are criticizing me, god damn it, for dropping every single Toho game I've played before I finished it, if any of them can do Owlless even once. None of them can do it. I guarantee it, right? I can do Owlless one out of 10, 50 times. I've done Owlless 5 times in my life. I can do bump clips semi-consistently. Way harder than anything in Toho. But those are actually fun. Toho isn't fun to me. The character designs are great. Best character designs, like iconic fucking character designs, of course. Music is the best thing about Toho, by far. The music is like some of the best game music of all time, obviously, as everyone knows. Toho music is just incredible. It's way better than the games. Fuck the games. Listen to the soundtracks. This was supposed to be like some deep psychoanalysis about why I find it difficult to care about taking care of my things and stuff, but it just turned into me ranting about Toho. This is just how things are, man. I have a video game over there. You want to see a video game, guys? I have an actual video game down there, a real one. I didn't even know they made them. I didn't know they made real video. I thought they were just a thing on the computer. But look. Well, they make real video games. So this is a Final Fantasy. I've heard of that. Never gonna play this. Oops. Forgot to care. Forgot to care. Yeah, never gonna play it. It was £3. So, you know, bought it like years ago. Played literally 5 minutes of it, because at the same time, I bought PS2. I have a PS2. If you didn't know, I bought a PS2 because when I was a kid, I thought to myself, when I'm an adult, I'm gonna have money. When I have money, I can buy a games console. And my parents won't let me have a games console. So as soon as I have my own money, I'm gonna buy a games console. And I forgot about that for 20 years. And then I remembered it, and I was like, I have money. I could buy a games console. And I went into a shop, and I was like, I'm gonna get. I happen to know from years of watching YouTube videos that the PS2 has like the most extensive library of any games console. It's like it's super cheap. It's super easy to find games for because everyone had one. Best-selling console of all time, if my memory serves me correctly. And it had a fucking billion games released on it. It had so many games, and it has backwards compatibility for the PS1, which is also just fucking chock full of games. So the PS2 is the optimal console. I thought about that. And so I went into a secondhand shop, get a secondhand game shop, bought a PS2, and I thought, I need to buy some games to play on this PS2. What do they have? And the first thing I thought was, well, everyone says Shadow of the Colossus is great, so I'll buy Shadow of the Colossus. And then I was just looking around, and then I saw Final Fantasy for £3, and I was like, that's fucking so cheap, I may as well buy it. And so I bought it, and when I got home, I put on Shadow of the Colossus, and then I got kind of engrossed in it. And after defeating the first Colossus, I closed the game, put in Final Fantasy. What is that? It's so fucking dark in my room, I can't see shit. Final Fantasy XII? What is that? What's XII? 12. Final Fantasy 12. Never played a Final Fantasy game before. Never played a JRPG before. Except, I actually count Pokemon. Final Fantasy 12. Put it on. Played it for literally the first 10 minutes of the tutorial. It had the most boring combat system I've ever seen. I hated the combat system. It just felt so unintuitive to me, and I just hated it. So I turned it off, and I just played Shadow of the Colossus. And I never even beat Shadow of the Colossus. I played through the first 4 or 5 Colossi, and then I was done gaming for the day, because that's a reasonable amount to game in one day. And then I just never played it again, because I've already seen other people beat. Firstly, Shadow of the Colossus is probably a really good game. It's definitely a really good game, but also, I don't know. I don't find it that fun. It's a really cool game, but I just find it. How do I put it? It almost feels like every boss is just a harder version of the previous boss. But you've already played the previous boss, so why play the next? Why do the next one? That's kind of what it feels like to me. I love the theming and the visuals and all of that and blah blah blah. I love all that shit. It's an amazing looking game. It's an amazing game in terms of construct everything, right? But I just find it hard. Games aren't that fun to me. I've only ever found 3 games fun, and one of them barely counts. I just don't find... that's not true. I recently found another game that I find fun. Post Void. Post Void, great fucking game. Love Post Void. That's a game that I find very fun. And as soon as the Steam winter sale comes around, you best bet I'm buying Dusk. Is it called Dusk? It's like the boomer shooter. The modern boomer shooter. That one. You best fucking bet your ass I'm buying that shit. I think it's called Dusk. Because that is my type of game. Never played Quake, actually. There's a fun fact about me. Never played Quake. I think I'd like Quake, but I've never played it. Played Doom, played Wolfenstein, never played Quake. Should play Quake. When are they going to make modern Quake? When's that going to happen, eh? Come on. Play Unreal Tournament. I have every Unreal Tournament game. I played 2 of them. Because who fucking gives a shit about the random ones? I've played, whatever. I own every single Unreal Tournament game because they were super cheap on sale once on Steam. And so I maybe this isn't impressive to actual gamers, Maybe like game. I just remembered that actual gamers own like hundreds of games on Steam. I own like 10 games on Steam. So most of those being every Unreal Tournament game is a kind of a big deal for me. I don't own many games on Steam. I could probably name every single game that I own on Steam. Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Counter-Strike 1.6, Counter-Strike Condition Zero and Condition Zero Deleted Scenes, Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, Portal 1, Portal 2, City Skylines, Skyrim, Team Fortress 2, every Unreal Tournament game, Yume Nikki, for some reason. I don't know why I have it on Steam. I didn't play it on Steam, but apparently I have it on Steam. Um, The Static Speaks My Name, Proteus. Proteus is good but overpriced. I definitely have more. Wait. Rats Instagib. I'm pretty sure that's on Steam. And I think I'm almost out. I think that's almost all of them. Fuck. I know there's more. I think there's like maybe one or two more. Gmod. I have Gmod. And TAS 100. That's pretty much. I'm pretty sure that's every single Steam game I own. Yeah. What the fuck was this? This video was supposed to be about like some sort of psychoanalysis, and I'm just talking about every Steam game I own. I don't know. If you watch this, you're a brave soul. Give me a shout out in the comments. Say I don't know. Comment with your favorite fucking, I don't know. Make something up. Just make something up.